shotgun start in golf is full of mathematics. There's a lot of setup work that we have to do in order to make a tournament work. So I'm going to demonstrate to you just exactly how we do a shotgun start here.
Here we go.
Hey. All right. Gentlemen, start your engine!
Greetings and welcome to a Wednesday edition of the Shotgun Start. It is May 14th. Andy, how we doing?
Brendan, I gotta say, I am doing great. My morning started with a little Jordan Speith and Don Rhea, and I didn't know the latter was gonna be part of my morning. Didn't know I needed it to be part of my morning. But the day's ending now with PJ's wonderful intro music addition to the live show. That was calming.
Quite a little preamble. It was great. A nice little twist. Maybe we're up on our game here for the PGA Championship. I'm excited to talk about it with you here. Preview it. A championship you said lacked juice last week, but I think we're ready. I think we're ready for 4 days. We're ready for the show. It's kind of the championship that I don't know if it has juice. I get that a lot of the best players are playing well and have won. So maybe it's one of these things, like, we don't need to go, like, the analysis ahead of time doesn't need to be like the most deep. We don't need to consider every detail of the golf course, but I think once the balls are in the air, it should be an excellent show. And that's kind of where I am. Maybe that's a pretty soft sell for a preview show, given that I just said, you don't really need to dive too deep into it on preview it. We know what we're going to get. But Don Rhea provided, so we'll get into him as well on this preview show. I just cannot wait.
Don Rhea.
I've got tape flags and the printout transfer. There's too many sections. I was like, I'm just be reading this for a 50-minute podcast. I need to prioritize. What's an underline? What's a tape flag?
I think my wife thought I was watching like a political conference when he was talking. That was incredible. It was ridiculous.
Pretty good.
I want to get to the golf.
Yeah.
We'll talk Don Rhea later. It's the most preposterous thing that I've watched happen in golf in a while, and I've watched a lot of Jay Monahan press conferences.
Oh, he makes Monahan sound like Winston Churchill or Socrates. I mean, he's nothing. All over the place. We'll get to Don Rhea. We should talk about the golf. Where's the PGA rank in the 4 majors for you, the men's majors?
Where's it rank in the 4 majors? Is that a real question?
Men's majors. If you bring women in, it goes well ahead of Evian and Chevron, probably.
It's 4th. If it wasn't for Live, I think at this point be contemplating whether the Players is a bigger event than it.
We've had some great PGAs though.
We have had some great PGAs, but you know what? I'm someone who has been known to flame golf courses. I think the Quail discourse gotten too much already. Everybody's got their pitchforks out.
Who's doing that?
Everyone.
We've got battles between the locals. Like, that's somebody said, Tron actually told me, it's like, it doesn't even feel like a major week. I was like, au contraire. The surest sign of a major week is that an entire municipality is angry at like the golf intelligentsia online. And that's what we have. We've got Charlotte, town media gown battles with the media. They're taking great offense to anybody who speaks ill of their Quail Hollow, which is, of course, a great sort of tradition of the PGA, whether it be Bellerive or last year, Valhalla. I mean, I'll just say this. Dan Jenkins spent one of his last majors on earth essentially tweeting about how much Louisville sucks. He spent the entire major week, and that's Dan Jenkins, maybe the golf critics. So this is a history. This is a tradition. But I do think Quail Hollow, the discourse has gotten a little too far. I would propose that this is in orders of magnitude better than Valhalla. as a
Yeah,
championship.
and
So,
Bell
like,
Reeve,
yes,
worlds better than Bell
Okay.
Reeve.
And it seems like we kind of just mush them all together, and that they're not. They're different, little different classes. Maybe not the Oakmont or whatever else we might get in a major. But
I have to say, Gabby Herzig's right up in Athletic with the quote from Hunter Mahan in the lead was just the chef's kiss of Quail discourse.
what's the
Where
quote?
the quote?
Throw the quote at it. It was everywhere.
Well, it got aggregated. Nobody,
sure did.
nobody's citing the actual article or the source of,
Well,
of
you're in
where
it.
the quote came
Egg
from.
Boy's in it.
Eh.
Get that article. Scroll. Get into it.
I'm
The leading
the least
independent media
important-
company.
Least important part of the article. The most important part is right in the lead. Quail Hollow is like a Kardashian. It's very modern, beautiful, and well kept, but it lacks a soul or character.
I mean,
this is the player. The players love it.
I find it ironic. Hunter Mahan married a Cowboys cheerleader that used a gratuitous K, like Courtney, Chloe, and Kris Kardashian, Candy. And he's taking a run at the Kardashians, bringing them into it and throwing them in. I don't understand. I think I need elaboration. I'm more what soul and character. People are crushing it. What does that mean? It's beautiful. It's manicured perfectly. It's long. It's hard. You got to hit long irons.
I just have to say, I'm just proud of how far golf media's come. That we're at the state of the discourse with Quail after like where we're compared to where we were at with Bell Reeve, just demanding top flight venues for major championships. And like Quail's a fine PGA Tour event, a PGA Tour course. And guess what? It's gonna be a great tournament. The one thing the PGA has consistently done, Kerry Haig has a recipe of just keeping things tight, so you get that exciting Sunday where everybody's in the mix, and it's always good. And despite the golf course being maybe almost underwater by the time the tournament starts because of all the rain, I think it's going to deliver a very interesting tournament from a player perspective. And maybe that's the identity of this, is that it's the player's first major, and it's the venue. Now I would
the players.
Well, now what I would say on the flip side of that is, when you have a great venue like Kiowa Island, you also you can have the chance to get a great showdown that we got there with a great golf course to match it, or Southern Hills, another great venue to have.
Yeah, I think probably a little bit of the discourse or the pops is that we do see this every single year, whereas that adds, I guess, maybe to fatigue or just eye rolling, and adds sort of a negative bent to it. We see it not just every year, but we see it like precisely this week every year as a PGA Tour event. Almost precisely this week, would have been last week, I guess. So it's like it is literally on the schedule at the same place it is every single year, and we're just going to say, no, we'll pull the banner down, and it's a major now. And so I think that's like not doing it any favors, the actual golf course or the merits of it. So that's hurting it.
I mean,
so go ahead.
The Quail people have to be just like completely shell shocked by the discourse this week. Like you have Rory. I'm kind of shocked by it, honestly. I've been taken aback.
It's not architecture nerds, it's players. This is what we're like you're getting at, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the players. Yeah.
It's like it's players, and the big media outlets are just taking it to the golf course. And it's unbelievable to me. It's like this golf course, if anything, all it's tried to do, what it's guilty of, besides being mediocre, what it's guilty of is just trying to be loved. They've done everything they can to appease everybody in pro golf.
They've chopped and screwed it too much for 20 years, right?
And now they're just getting all the years of trying to appease the players, and they're just getting it all thrown back in their face. I mean, it's amazing. Scottie, JT both said there's no strategy off the tee.
Not really a lot of strategy
like
stuff going on.
It doesn't necessarily require a lot of thought or strategy off the tee. It's generally, pulling out driver, and I need to hit this as far and straight as possible.
Kind of following up on Dan's question earlier, when you don't have as much experience at a course, how much do you rely on Teddy to kind of work your way to plot you around? And what's your guys' relationship like when you guys are trying to figure out how to attack a golf course, especially at a major championship like this?
Yeah, I would say there's certain golf courses on tour that there's really a lot of, there's a big strategy component to. I mean, you think of a course like Hilton Head where, each time you step on the tee box, there's a thought into what club you're going to hit just based on wind direction and pin placement and stuff like that. On this golf course, with it being so big, it's a little bit easier just to step on a tee box and like pretty much every hole is a driver. Outside of that, off the tee, there's not really a bunch of strategy stuff you can do, but I rely very heavily on Teddy week to week. I mean, he does all the prep work on the golf courses, and yeah, I've played him time to time, or year after year, but at the end of the day, like Teddy is the guy that I listen to. He knows where the good spots are. He knows where the bad spots are. And, one year we come to a golf course and the rough may be light over a green in a certain area and the pitch shot's really easy. And then the next year we come back and for some reason the grass is totally different and now it's a really hard shot. And so Teddy is the one that does all that prep work for me, and I rely on him pretty heavily week to week.
I know you said there's not much you have to think about for this course when you're not on the tee, but
well,
or when you're
just off the tee specifically. I mean, it's pretty much a driver on each hole, and that's pretty much it.
What hole do you have to put the most thought into for how to attack it here?
I'd say probably that drivable one on the back. I think it's 14 or 15. 14.
What is it?
I would say depending on the pin position, that would be the one that takes the most thought. But most of the other holes
Can't
off
remember
the
the
tee,
number, but-
I mean, you're just trying to get the ball in the fairway, really, and get the ball in the fairway probably as far as you can down there, just so you can have a shorter club into the firm greens. And I think going into the greens will be a lot of strategy, especially as they firm up, just based on what pins you're able to attack and where your misses are supposed to be. I think there'll be a lot of strategy. I think going into the greens,
Lots
just
of strategy
not as much
talk.
off the tee.
Strategy.
He didn't go into it there, but he did talk about how like you can't run it up. The greens are firm because they're newish, as Johnson Wagner mentioned, and now has been repeated multiple times on your podcast, repeated multiple times the last couple of days after the rain. You can't run it up because it's sticky. It's soft in front, but then you're going to firmer greens. So it is like an all-out aerial assault.
Well, that's going to be even more the case with how much water they've gotten. It's going to have the soft greens, but then or soft fairways, but the greens they got the sub air humming.
Yeah.
Lots of comments about amazing how firm the greens are, despite but so it's going to be a pure aerial show, which you know what, that's what most of pro golf is. We romanticize about running it up, but unless you've got like insane slope leading into the greens or really firm conditions, or it's a links course, you're not going to get much running into the greens in pro golf.
Yeah, so the players are piling on. I guess we're just doing the course stuff right now. I mean, I was mostly amused that he, like the one hole that he thought required some thought, he couldn't remember what hole it was. That's like the Firestone problem, where it's like, which one's which? They're all the same. Is it 14? Is it 15? 14 is the one that's a drivable one and requires some, I guess, decision off the tee. But he couldn't remember.
I think it was Jordan's press conference. The other thing that goes on with these events now, and particularly how little someone has to play before Quail Hollow, because they've played it every year. Yeah. Someone asked him a question about the golf course, and he goes, "I haven't been out there yet."
Yeah. Yes.
It's like, oh.
I wrote that for the newsletter. Like usually if you have two Monday and Tuesday of a major week completely washed out, there might be some anxiety in the locker room.
None.
Not this week. So yeah, there's that familiarity. That said, it'll be fine. It will be harder. You have to hit mid irons. It is predominantly there's almost too much data though, Andy. Like the data boys, the gambling pods we're just
a gambling pod. Don't
swimming. I know they're swimming in data because they've had an annual event here. It is pretty tour adjacent in that just hit it as far as you can. There's a massive reward for how far you hit it. But I think like I heard the quote from multiple people, like, and it was like Keegan and somebody else. I can't remember who. Like you can't fake it out here. And that is true. You might have to think much, but like you do have to execute. You do have to like make the shot. And that part is true. You can, and I think with Valhalla, we saw a little bit of just like sketchy or scruffy play. The difference between like a sort of flared wedge and a wedge that was like hit fairly decently wasn't much. And so like every winner here every year, as you'd expect a winner to, like, all of their strokes gain metrics are very, very good. You can't, around the green is maybe is the one that can drop off the least, but you have to be good off the tee, on approach, and putting. These greens are big. There's a good bit of slope. This, of course, has this, like, with the owner being an Augusta guy, this homage to Augusta in presentation and maybe in annual tinkering. I don't know.
I liked in the Gabby write-up how is designed to be the best course other than Augusta National.
Yeah, he was asked about that. Johnny Harris on TV. He's like, well, it's not quite Augusta, but we strive for it. Like, because I think he's a member there, and yeah, you don't want to just say. So you do have to putt. Like as you would imagine, a winner, like, the putting metrics would probably be good, but not every time. If it is, like, there, you could have a drop off. So it is sort of a real examination. You just don't have to think. You don't have to strategize. It's like kind of the one way to do it.
It's you could go. I wouldn't even say it's a multiple choice. It's a true false test.
Yes.
And I think this is like one of the things that the PGA, outside of a few venues, is. It's just, hit it here, and if not, you're in trouble. And I think listen, I'm a big proponent. Everybody likes to say I only like one style of golf courses. I do think like that variety is important, and maybe that's how you make an argument for Quail Hollow and courses of its ilk. Is that, hey, it's a different type of golf course than Augusta National. It's a different type of golf course than a links course, and it's a different type of golf course than Oakmont. Oakmont's got a lot more interest going on. It just, it's not as good of a piece of property as Oakmont, and it's not as good of design as Oakmont, and it's just a certain type of golf course. And you know what? We should embrace that we have great variety in our venues this year. Yep. So there's your half full. There's your positive thoughts on Quail Hollow.
Par 71, 7,600 yards, just a couple quick data points. First 6 are hard. Then you get your birdies at 7 to 15. There's 2 drivable par 4s at 8 and 14. There's par 5s in that stretch. And then 16, 17, 18 is the Green Mile. You've heard that name before. It's longer. They play hard to par. So that's your kind of general overview. Go ahead.
I looked into some data on the Green Mile. 17 to 18 are the holes that get the most doubles of any holes on the golf course, typically in PGA Tour events. So exciting finish in the sense that, like, you could make birdie. If you hit great shots, you can make birdies. It's hard to make birdies on those holes, as you imagine, if they're getting that higher rate of doubles. But the fact that you can't, that there are big numbers lurking, make it possible for potential 3-shot swings, which I think is exciting for a tournament.
One last bit on the course, maybe not half full portion. The rye overseed of the Bermuda. A lot of discussion around this in the rough. This, I think, makes it approximated more to a tour event. Certainly, that's what we've seen all spring. They're just rye overseeding everything from Florida to Texas to all and in between. And, the Bermuda, like the whatever, wall to wall, whatever Bermuda we had in August was kind of a pain in the ass. So certainly in the rough in 17. And is it necessary? Was it necessary to do that? It makes it a little bit more benign. It's never really done for a major. They did it for Kiowa in 21.
Golf's fascination with ryegrass is absurd to me. It's the worst surface for golf. One of the worst surfaces. It's slow. It's predictable. I think Bermuda rough is like probably the best thing to make players think about hitting fairways.
Yeah.
Ryegrass, you just know what you're getting. It's really easy to judge the lie and understand, is this going to jump? Is this going to come out dead? Is this going to like kind of knuckle down? How do I have to play this shot? Like Ryegrass is very easy to judge.
Yep.
Bermuda, because of its unpredictability, would force players to think about how do I hit the fairway, as opposed to what you're hearing players say, I'm just going to hit it as far as I can and figure it out.
I mean, you saw some guys just completely jammed, in 17, Jason Day. I remember that, it's like a Brillo pad or something, it just goes down, or maybe it doesn't. And yeah,
or sometimes it sits up and you think
Yeah.
it's going to jump, but it comes out dead.
Yep.
Sometimes you think it's going to come out dead. It jumps and you end up 30 yards over a green. And you're like, how did that happen? It's just, golf.
They didn't need to
golf,
do that.
I
right?
think it's Augusta Nationals overseeds. And that's why everybody thinks they should do it, because Augusta does it. It's a terrible grass for golf.
But it's there this week. Seems like one element that didn't have to be, whether you're, of all the Quail Hollow aspects, people are sort of nitpicking. So, last quote, Bryson just added, it's a bomber's paradise for sure. Oh yeah. Like that's, that's his full analysis of the place.
Speith allegedly called it Rory Country Club last week.
Which is true. It is true. Speaking of grass types, rye, Bermuda, if it's raining out there and you can't do it out on the real stuff, maybe Hideki would do it, like a lunatic. I don't know what Hideki was getting out of that simulation on Monday. Like, is that? And it wasn't like
for those that missed it.
Green.
For those that missed it, he was on the practice green. The practice green is an entire puddle. It's just a puddle. It's pouring rain. His team's out there. They have the umbrella over him, and he's hitting putts. It was a puddle.
Simulating. Yeah, there's a puddle.
Maybe he's just working on the stroke. Why can't you do that on carpet inside?
Or you could do it on your perfect practice putting mat at perfectpractice.com. Use the promo code SGS for 20% off. Or you could go to Dick's Sporting Goods. We have to make sure they're mentioned. Our good friends at Dick's Sporting Goods, the brick and mortar bastion over there, selling golf goods. Perfectpractice.com. Promo code is SGS for 20% off. It's the highest quality mat for a realistic putting experience, crafted with unique crystal velvet material. Don't give Kerry Haig any ideas. We might be crystal velveting the rough someday down the line.
Well, he wouldn't tell us if he did it.
Set it up to be a championship test. Crystal velvet material that ensures smooth and precise ball movement, simulating real greens. Train anytime, anywhere, or just be a lunatic like Hideki and go, putt wherever you want. It's great for winter practice to keep sharp before you can get back on the course. Great for rainy days, as we just saw, or just setting it up in your office when you want to. You know what I find the putting mat to be? Like a great brainstorm activity. Like if I need to get away from the screen, think about ideas, maybe just get lost and kind of like in the motion. That's a great activity that I have in the office.
I find it great for phone calls with people that you talk to regularly.
Sure.
If you don't need to be locked in on the computer, great activity for that. It's I actually vacuumed mine yesterday.
Maintenance crew came out.
Yeah, came through
Rolled
with the vacuum.
It
got some like leaves on it. A little dust.
Yeah, collects there. Yep. Yeah. Sign of a good mat. Perfectpractice.com. Promo code is SGS for 20% off. Hey, I want to throw a little curveball at you. Just a quick little game.
A curveball?
Meant to do this at the top. Then we did 20 minutes on the golf course with, Hunter Mahan just taking us with the quote of the year. There's this.
Does it have to do with Don Rhea?
No, we're
not there yet.
Not to Donnie boy, Donnie baseball. There's this great meme or just device on Twitter, like let's remember some guys, that goes around where guys just say, David Segui was tweeted at us the other night, Ron Karkovice, and we would just start naming names, right?
Karkovice.
Sharon Collins. So just start throwing guys out, basketball, whatever it is. And I talked to PJ. I said, the PGA has to have the most remember some guys in its winners Rolodex and its winners board with paint on the board. I think the PGA Championship is the preeminent major for just remember some guys. So I'm going to lead us off. I don't want you looking at any. He's got Wikipedia up. We're gonna do like 8 to 10. I feel like there's just some golden options here, and it's your fourth major, and I feel like this is where it really gets hammered home. I'm gonna go. I'm trying to remember. I'm going my coverage time. 13, Jason Duffner, gotta be Duff Daddy on Oak Hill. Did the pat with his wife or his then wife. It became viral. That was a big blog moment. Duffner, Oak Hill, some guys. You have one, Andy?
What about David Toms?
Great one.
Was it the 7-wood? The 7-wood?
Right.
It was like a Cleveland launcher 7-wood, and then he kept it in the bag for years after it.
I would, on the Atlanta Athletic Club bet, I would add Keegan Bradley. I know has recent profile rise but like,
didn't Duffner blow that one too, right?
Yes. The PGA might have the most like one and done major winners, right? Like a Keegan, a Duff. I'm gonna throw out another one. I'm gonna go Wayne Grady, Shoal Creek, right? I think he was one, has to be one in there. What do you got, Andy? Do you ever remember some guys nominated? Rory McIlroy.
It's coming onto the show. I was talking to PJ, a little pre-show chatter, inside baseball moment. And this is PJ, you were probably 4 years old at this point. And he said, how about this pairing of, I think it's Duffner's pairing, Duffner, someone else. And he goes, and Sean Michelle.
No.
PJ doesn't know who Sean McKeel is.
Come on.
I mean, you remember when Sean McKeel was hitting that iron in the darkness to knock it dead to seal the deal.
To be fair, I don't think Michael Thorbjornsson also knows who Sean Michelle is, and he's playing with him. He's third in that pair.
Did you just call him Michelle?
Yeah, do it again.
I think you just called him Michelle.
I think
McKeel.
That's it. Okay.
I told the story about Augusta when I was talking to McKeel, right, on this pod.
Yes.
Yeah. When I brought up Corey, I made a joke about Corey Connors winning, and he was like, "I think Corey Connors would be a great story, great winner."
You tell it to like the guy who's like the poster boy for when people like random one off. Yeah.
Literally, while I was saying it, I was like, "Oh no, why did I go here?" I mean, you got
McKeel, 2003, was it?
Rich Beam, Why Yang?
Rich Beam, both Hazeltines, two Hazeltines. Mark Brooks.
I was gonna say Mark Brooks is a name I don't think I've ever heard before. Looking at this list,
really?
Yeah.
Texas. He's a red ass. Just always has a cigarette. He was not. He was had a temper problem. Larry Nelson, 87. Can we put
Zinger in there?
That's the only major he won, right?
Yeah.
DL3, right? DL3 wasn't it his only major? Wingfoot. And couple players, but he's not just a guy.
Not a guy.
Any other? Which ones are Wayne Grady? I know is one.
I mean, do we have to? I mean, Jimmy Walker.
Oh, God.
I think Jimmy Walker was like there's a lot of Jimmy Walker slander from people that don't remember. Jimmy Walker was a certified problem for a few years.
Only in Q1 though, usually.
Yeah, was he? Would you look at him and be like, you know what? This guy definitely should have won a major. No, but like, is it surprising is it like unfathomable that he won a major? This is not Ben Curtis.
He was on at least one Ryder Cup team, at least
multiple.
Maybe,
I think.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I put him and Gary Woodland like in a similar bucket. Like, are we going to look back and say they're the greatest major champions of all time? Yeah. No. But are they like complete like anomalies? No.
What other guys you got, PJ, that just jumped off the page to you? Mark Brooks was the big one.
Mark Brooks was one. John Mahaffey.
Yeah, he was good though. He was good in his time. But yes, for our generation.
Can't say I've ever heard that name. This guy's got two majors, but again, not somebody I'm familiar with. Hubert Green.
Hubert.
He was good.
Gosh, no Hubert Green slander.
I'm not meaning it as slander. I'm just reading the list. Bob Tway. I've heard that name before.
That's Gaines's father. I was thinking Gaines was going to have a similar arc when I predicted 5 wins from Gaines.
We've kind of.
What about little Sluman?
Oh yeah, Jeff Sluman. Where did he win his?
Oak Tree. Oak Tree.
Oh,
Beat the
okay.
Oak Tree game.
Well, where was Tway's? Southern Hills?
Tway was Inverness because he had the
Inverness.
famous
Oh,
chip in
sure,
on 18.
Sure.
He might have beaten Zinger that year. Who was it that he
that's
beat?
right.
I'll tell
I
you.
think that's right.
1986 PGA Championship. Greg Norman.
Shark. Yeah, because Shark bogeyed 18. Tway chipped in.
But we've kind of moved out of the remember some guys era. I mean, you don't get the Walker, Duffner, Keegan. It's just it just hasn't been that. Now the venues they're still going to are like, I don't know, maybe it should be fourth, but we're getting bona fide studs, multiple major winners, not the one and doneers, guys who are in the top 5 of the world often when they win them. So it's kind of been that run really since I don't know what you want to say. Walker was good, Duffner was pretty good, Keegan was sort of came out of nowhere in 11. So it's just been that way where it's been studs for the last 10, 15 years. Go ahead.
This isn't meant to be disrespectful to any of these players.
Okay.
All right. I want to preface this.
Oh boy.
But when we look like 5 years from now, are we sure that we aren't going to look at Wyndham Clark and be like, you know what? Are we sure we're not going to look at like Shane Lowry and look at his career resume? I like Shane Lowry, but like Jimmy Walker was like a bona fide pro. You can't.
Yeah.
People.
Well, yeah. All these. Yeah. McKeel, Curtis, Hamilton.
Yes.
Like that run was that's never coming back.
We're out of that era. I'd also like to point out when those wins came.
The ball.
We could talk about Don Rhea. All those wins, I believe, came after the invention of the Pro V1. And there's a wonderful study out there that says that technological change leads to, brand new skills being rewarded that otherwise weren't. And maybe that's why we had some fluky winners.
Interesting. That's a good. We
also why Marco Mira had two majors. He should be on that list.
Oh, get out of here! What a mess.
He was using a better ball than everybody else.
So this gets cut in a long-winded way. Gets us to our point that this week I would be shocked. If we don't have just however you want to define stout loaded leaderboard on Sunday. I would be more shocked that if none of Rory, Bryson, and Scottie were in contention than if all 3 were. Like all 3 being in contention seems, probably unlikely just based on the odds, but I'd be certainly more shocked if none of them were. And it feels like we're set up for that with the course that predominates to reward those traits. Scottie's never played here other than a P Cup, but when you talk about Scottie's setup, I mean, guy owns Bay Hill. He's won at Muirfield Village. He wins. This isn't like reinventing the wheel for him. It's I hit it to this place and I hit it to that place. Oh, this is a hard hole. I avoid this. I'm good. And so he doesn't hit it as far as those guys, and he'll have more mid irons, but he's an excellent mid iron golfer. So I'm not really worried about the fact that he hasn't played the Truist or the Wells Fargo, whatever it is.
Especially because the golf course best described would be it's right in front of you.
It's all right there.
We're not talking about like trying to learn how to play links golf here or trying to like going into Augusta National blind, not knowing where to miss the ball, not having experience of understanding what's the right and wrong place to miss. This is about as basic of a major championship course as you need, as you're going to see. So I think experience matters the least of really like any major that we've seen in some time. A question that I think is interesting that's been floating around is, would you take the field or Rory, Bryson, and Scottie? What do you think's the better bet?
I mean, the better bet is the field.
It is.
That's the smarter play. There are a lot of good players beyond those 3, but it's an interesting question. PJ, what are you coming in with? Some odds?
I think if you added a couple guys to that group of 3. If you added Justin Thomas and Xander Schauffele, I might be more convinced to take the 5 of them versus the rest of the field. I think
Michael Block. Yeah, you add a few guys. You're opening up a new world.
Who would you say outside of those top 3 would be your next on your list? I say this as
Thomas.
As the holder of the 7th pick in a PGA draft.
I think it's Justin Thomas.
I think there's a clear tier break after those 3 and then JT and Xander. I would put a 5-man tier.
What about Unhappy Boy?
That's the one. That's the biggest one.
I have no idea what to do. I have no idea what to do.
Rahm, it's so interesting. Like he could come and just win by 4. I don't think he will, but that's the big question. Like I have no problem with all the 5 we listed. Xander, of course, the injury stuff, kind of, in normal circumstances, he's clearly in that top group. But the Rahm question for me is the most interesting one, or the most hardest one.
I usually hate I hate when we have the same question asked by the same reporter in every press conference. It annoys the shit out of me.
Shane Hine was doing it today. Is that where you're going?
With like if you could have one skill, I found that like pretty interesting to watch. And honestly, when they went to every player, I thought, oh well, this is like obvious who you should take. What you should take. And like it's either Scottie's approach or Rory's driving, right? Yeah. Are like the 2 obvious ones you should take. But when it got to Rahm, I honestly was like, that's a guy that a year ago might say no to all of them.
Xander was sort of like that. He's like, I don't know. That's a weird question, man.
Yeah. And like the top of the bucket, I'm excited to hear what Rory says tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because once you like the top echelon of players, I don't think they like even think about that. Scottie gave like a great answer I think you have to take Rory's driver but that's like, I think pretty clear. It's like a guy that hits it further and maybe not quite as straight as him. I think Scottie on certain types of setups is the best driver in the world, but that's a clear, like at this tournament this week, Rory's going to give you such an advantage over Scottie. But there are certain types of players, like Rahm really struggled to give an answer. And I think it's because he probably was going through in his head, I don't know. And I think like that's one of the guys from a pure talent standpoint. It should be in the discussion with Scottie and Bryson and Rory right now.
Yeah. Is there anyone of the top 3? Look, there's so much data on Rory. I don't know what to say. Like he's exceptional here. He's playing the best in the golf in the world this year, going to the golf course where he's played better than anywhere else in the world. That's the analysis. He's won 4 times. Shane did a good YouTube video on like, not only is he like expected to be great here, he beats his like strokes gained against himself expected value by like almost a shot. Like there's some just extra thing going on here. It reveals like his lawn irons are like that much better than everyone else. Talk about like rollback and getting into that, like where you have to hit a lot of lawn irons. He actually makes so much ground up here on lawn irons. And it reveals him to be maybe like the great lawn iron player.
You know who I wish we could bring in to ask that?
Who's that?
Don Rhea. He probably has some thoughts on Rory, whether bifurcation would help a long iron player. Probably wouldn't. Actually, if you ask the 31,000.
There's 31,000 representing 28 point whatever million. God, dude, it's just gobbledygook central. So is there one of those 3? Rory hits the high draw. They've talked about that. JT talked about Bryson can do that. Johnson Wagner talked about it. Scottie is just this is kind of course where he shines. Is there one of those 3 that you would be like most apt to pick to fall out, to not contend? I'm kind of telling you to pick your like least favorite whatever kid or something like that. They're all it's hard to pick against. Is there one that you'd be most skeptical of?
I think like most skeptical, I would probably say like honestly Bryson, maybe just in case like something crazy happened. Maybe they don't play lift clean in place and and the mud balls just drive him insane.
Yeah.
I think, like, to me, Scottie is just going to finish in the top 10, right?
Yeah.
Like, I know he's going to finish in the top 10. Rory, it's such happy hunting ground. If you go through his results here, it's insane, his results, that I just like struggle to think of a way that he is going to play poorly here, right? So his results since 2010, I did this on Friday.
Okay.
He finished first in 2010, wins the Quail Hollow Championship. 2011, he misses the cut. Keep in mind, I think that this tournament always fell around his birthday. Maybe some hangovers in the early years.
Yeah, sure. Younger.
Maybe some worse for the wearer days. T2 in 2012, T10 in 2013, T8 in 2014, first in 2015, T4 in 2016, T22 at the PGA in 2017, T16, 2018, 2019, T8, 2021, first, 2022, fifth, 23, T47, 24, first. Those results would point to, like, probably, I don't know, 8th would be a bad week.
Yeah. These lead up to the majors, there's like paralysis by analysis, and what I'm hearing now is like, is he too unburdened? It's like foot off the gas time. Sergio won his Masters, and then we never heard from him for like 3 or 4 years. I don't think that's gonna happen.
He's played a lot too. It's not like he didn't. He played well last week. That's the other thing about it.
He won the Players before the Masters. It wasn't like a 1 week thing. I do. I think it's interesting. I've like a half-baked take or half-baked thought. Maybe I shouldn't sort out right now. But golf is unique in a way that you can kind of play for a long time. And there are so many opportunities. There are 4 majors a year, and there's Players and FedEx Cups, and there's all these subjective weights of like what is good and what's building your status. That you can kind of always shift the goalposts. Like the discourse can constantly shift the goalposts. And with Rory now, and Scottie to a certain extent, I'm hearing with Scottie, like, well, he hasn't won anything but the Masters. He's won 2, like, has he won a non-Masters major? Like, all right, chill. He's accomplished everything just about in the game. With Rory, I'm starting to hear this seep in. We're like 3 weeks removed. Well, like, he's got the career slam now. And, Johnson Wagner said on your pod he's going to win 10 majors. And I don't think that's impossible. It seems it's eminently
big
possible.
Number.
But he just won. He just won the Masters. It took him 10 years to get one. I don't think that's probably going to happen again. And there are people who are like, you can kind of keep moving the goalposts. It doesn't take anything away from what's accomplished. Like the other goalposts I'm hearing, it's like, well, the guys who won career slams, they all won like 9 or more majors. Golf is in a unique spot that even the very best that we appreciate, unequivocally the best golfer, Rory's for 20 years now. He's been incredible, or whatever it's been. Scottie, we've never seen, 3-year run like this since Tiger. You can kind of keep, just because of how many majors there are, aside from passing Jack, the goalposts, and I don't think it's fair, I'm not suggesting we do it, can always be pushed further and further. And that's kind of the next step for these guys.
Well, the other aspect of this,
the
other aspect of this is if you win 10% of the time that you play, it's like an insane winning percentage, which means you lose 90%. If you win 5% of the time that you play, you're an all-timer. That means you lose 95% of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not unrealistic to think like, okay, a really good player is going to play in, let's call it 70 majors. A really great player will play in 70 majors. So they're going to, if they win 3, it's what? That's a, I don't know. That's like a 5% win rate, roughly 4% win rate.
Yeah.
So like it's also important to keep in mind with these things. It's hard to win.
And golf is deeper than I don't want to state the obvious, but like, I'm sorry, like Gene Sarazen and Sam Snead and Byron, like I'm not trying to, besmirch my elders here. These numbers they just aren't the same as what it is to win now. Anyways, it's an interesting thing I've seen. Maybe it's unique to golf. Like if you are, Patrick Mahomes, right? It's not like the guy's done it all. I don't need to see anything more from Patrick Mahomes. Do I think he could win another Super Bowl? Yeah. I just don't need to see anything more. But with golf, there's so many majors. Careers are so long. The amount of people that have come before you, whereas like NFL records are constantly falling, NBA records are constantly falling. That's the nature of those games. In golf, it's pretty much just driving distances are falling. It's interesting. It's a unique aspect of golf analysis that's probably only getting more and more with more podcasts, tweets, live from shows and like debate shows. And I don't know. It's maybe we should go. It's not suggesting we don't appreciate the present, but it's an interesting thing I've seen kind of happening with Scottie and Rory, as we all pick them to win, as well too. So,
do you want to do picks while we're here? We got more players to talk about.
Let's do picks. Are we getting to the point of the season where I can't keep track of who I've used or who I haven't?
Well, you're a psych. I pick the same people in both my one and done leagues.
Okay.
So I just, I live and die with my results. You're one that picks different players.
Well, I got to do two in the other one. Yeah.
The one tweak I have is one league starts at Kapalua, so I always end up with like one superstar that I pick at Kapalua that is unavailable. But anyways, I'm taking Rory. I'm saving Bryson for Oakmont. Something. Bryson was in the mix the last time it was at Oakmont.
Yeah.
Was in the top 10 going into Sunday, had a chance. So I'm gonna say Bryson for Oakmont, and then I'll probably use Rahm at the Open is my guess. Even though he hasn't played that great at Opens in general, I guess he's played okay at Opens. But that's kind of my thought process on how I'm gonna, use those three players.
Talk about shifting the goalpost. Rahm's like, I don't know, man. He might be washed. Guy could win the Slam this year. I don't know. He could win this week.
Yeah.
And Port Rush. So I've got to use one of the live boys. I just am. I think I'm going to use Bryson. I think that's the way to go. I totally get your use for Oakmont.
You picked Rory at the Masters too.
I did pick Rory at the Masters. That's the one I do remember. So I will go Bryson here for this week. Got to use a live boy one and done for the majors.
Peach, what are you doing?
What do you got, PJ?
I'm joining the Bryson train.
You're not taking Blandy?
No, not taking Blandy. Not taking. I do wonder. There is another major this week that some people are paying attention to. Just some of us are aware of the region's tradition this week. Patrick Harrington. Could he be competing for a senior major, or is he's playing with Luke Donald? Is he gunning for a player spot on the Ryder Cup team? I don't know, but I'm going Bryson. I've already used a shocking amount of superstars to the point where I have Rahm, Xander, and Bryson left.
You're doing what you should. There's only one signature event left.
Yeah.
You're doing exactly what you should be doing.
So I'm going to use Bryson here, Xander at the U.S. Open pending health, and then figure it out for Port Rush is my plan.
I think you're going to be jammed when it comes to playoff time. You're going to be really jammed, right?
No,
$25 million purses, right? Or do we cut it off?
I think most reset.
Okay. All right.
I'm not sure. Mine resets.
We don't use the playoffs in one of them. So we
don't. 3M. Yeah. Is that it? Or the Wyndham, whatever?
Yeah, the Wyndham. I think we might do Memphis, but other than that, I'm not too worried about the playoffs. But I'm going Bryson.
What other players you want to talk about? PJ, you have any? Andy, you said we got to talk about some other players. I think Speith is a subject of discussion. Certainly. Career slam came up.
He's become a great driver of the golf ball.
Do we have
not
the
for
quote?
any
Oh,
not
we
for
have the
anything.
quote. Would you like me to play the quote?
I'd love
Play
for
the
you to play
quote.
it. This was the thing I woke up to this morning. Got me out of bed.
The lead into Don Rhea, too.
To mention, I mean, the drivers that I have now are just incredible. I mean, the improvement Titleist has made in their drivers, like the miss hits being just as fast and just as straight. I think the technology has a lot to do with it. But you're looking at strokes gained, so that's relative to everybody else having better technology too. I was just more comfortable in full hard shots, and yeah, it was coincidental that the driving was better and the approach wasn't. I mean, I wasn't mechanically sound to hit, you know, all the shots needed to have an approach game that was, you know, up there with the best of them. So pushing drive, I didn't try to become a better driver by any means. I was just it just kind of happened. And this year it feels pretty good. And luckily, I think, you know, I'm on the right path to having everything kind of follow it right behind it.
So didn't become a better driver. The equipment just got better. I could miss hit it, and it goes straighter and faster than ever. Basically.
What more testimony do we need? The case closed, adjourned. This is like, I don't want to hear any more bullshit about we need more collaboration from these governing bodies. We need to do more research.
This is exactly what you don't want to happen to your sport. Is what Jordan Spieth just said, is that he became a better driver, not because he increased his skill, but because some piece of equipment made him a better driver.
I mean, you look at Anthony Volpe. Anthony Volpe is going to set a career high in home runs because he's using the torpedo bat. It's all over the place.
I watched was it World Series or the ALCS last year that they got knocked out in? ALCS. World Series. Yeah, all World Series.
That was mean. That was mean.
all World Series, I watched that guy go jammed.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was like, every time he went up, I was like, oh, this guy stinks.
He's got a torpedo bat now.
A damning quote. You threw the brand out there just for good measure. Love that he threw in Titleist just on top. Just give us the whole goods. Just like a guy who doesn't know he's being, you know, taped by somebody wearing a wire. He just gave us everything. The brand, what had happened. But let's get to the analysis of the player. Can he win the career slam this week? A lot of chatter. Aaron Oberholzer, great friend of the program. Love him. Said he feels really good about him this week. Strokes gained approach numbers are up this year. His wrist is better. They are improving. He's still kind of, doesn't seem like a good fit. He's better, improved, but still middling. And would need just I would say nuclear hot week with the putter. Just gets hot with the putter and obviously, you know, keeps it together tee to green, but just gets crazy hot with the putter.
My answer, I'm going to kick it to Mr. Block.
No way.
I just don't think that's happening this week.
He was kind of interesting. It's like, I don't know. Sometimes you guys like talk to me about this slam, but then some years I show up and like no one even mentions it or talks. Like, wow.
Somebody asked, like, all those years, were you insulted when nobody asked you about it? He was kind of gave like just a non-answer, but I thought that was a very funny question.
When you were just a guy.
Hey, did that piss you off for like 6 straight years?
There is a difference. Like, Rory has been tantalizingly close at the Masters and playing among the best in the world. You know, anyways, Phil.
Well, I mean, he talked.
Not
I did love I love how they asked him, like, when he talked about the PGA being the hardest one years ago, he was like, well, like, I kind of picked off a US Open. That would have been the hardest one, but I won at a non-US Open type course. Yeah. I think like that's the thing with Jordan Spieth. We see this with like the all-time great players are all surface players. You know, and you could think about that like in comparison to tennis, right? The all-time best win everywhere. And the difference between the all-time best golfers and the really, really good ones is the ones that pick off majors at every type of golf course. That's why the career slam, there's only 6 of them, winning, a Masters, a US Open and an Open is incredible, but like the US Open that Jordan Spieth won was more of akin to an Open type setup. I really like Chambers Bay. I think it's cool, and I think there's a part of like what the US Open is or could be. Chambers Bay could be a part of the US Open, but it's not right now. But I think that's the thing is like Jordan Spieth is totally built for certain styles of golf, and this one, Quail Hollow, ain't it?
Yeah, it'd be crazier things have happened to Dallas long shots this week.
Did you see his pairing? They're rekindling the Ryder Cup pairing. Maybe the only thing that could save the American Ryder Cup team at this point
my
is
favorite tee time. That's an awesome one. So much fun in there.
With Ludwig also in there,
activating a sleeper cell within him, just getting Patrick Reed next to him.
Any other players you wanted to talk about? Do you want to talk about Morikawa, maybe one of the better players this year, but doesn't have the pop in the bat? Like you talk about, Speith is above average off the tee. He's like whatever 50th, I want to say, driving distance off the tee, somewhere around there. Morikawa's like 150th. Like he's just, and you've talked about it. He doesn't chase speed, doesn't want to chase speed. Maybe feels like a good course for him, but.
I mean,
other than not being long enough. Yeah.
It's like what Jordan said when he got asked the question by Shane Ryan about like what would you take? He said Scottie's approach play, because if you approach it like if your approach plays like Scottie, you're in every golf course. You're gonna be and who hits approach shots like Scottie is Collin Morikawa. Probably top. Unassailable top 5 iron player, probably top 2 iron player in the game. So he's going to play well everywhere.
Pretender, Joaquin Neiman. Contender or pretender? Wednesday afternoon.
I feel like it's so safe to go pretender.
But if it was ever going to be a contender, I feel like this might actually be a decent setup for it.
He doesn't hit it very high.
That's the other thing I was thinking. Is like a little bit lower, but at least it's soft. But he's going to be really far. He's not going to get any run on off the tee.
Let's rip through tee times. Do you have any other player you've
I was going
to call out?
I was just going to ask. Who do you think needs this major the most right now? And at this point, where we are with pro golf, who's the best player without a major?
It's a good question. Who needs it the most?
I think this is always an interesting question at the start of a major. And I think, did we say Rory at the Masters? Was that the answer?
Know. It seems like a good answer.
I think it was.
I think we're getting into Hovland maybe being among the best without a major.
FedEx Cup champion.
Yeah.
Pat Cantlay is a FedEx Cup champion too.
I kind of don't even put Cantlay in the category anymore, but it's Cantlay and Hovland, I would say, at the current moment. Best without, most elevated their most elevate their whatever status.
The FedEx Cup would say Sepp Straka.
I don't know. Who do you think could most use it?
I think player that would be thought of tremendously different with a major win, with this major or any major win. To me, if I'm looking at just like the top 15 players in the world, might be Tommy Fleetwood at this point.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, all the close calls, instead of just close calls, are like, look at how many times he factored in majors. And right now it's just like, well, there are a lot of close calls. I think if you look at that top, 15, he's the one player that you would without a doubt think completely differently of him.
What if JT just became a PGA merchant?
That's
Won like
that's
4
what
or
I was
5,
thinking too. I think
two at Quail.
it's totally within the realm of possibility that JT just becomes a PGA merchant and just keeps stacking them up.
I mean, this is sort of the analysis of the goalposts. We can move. You can say anything. It's
Well,
subjective.
I was going to say, I think it might answer both questions, but if Ludwig wins, I feel like the conversation is going to get back to being like slightly out of control. People are going to be like, oh, how many can we get? This is the crowning moment. And I love him, but I feel like if he checks that box off this quickly, then it becomes a game of how many are we getting and when is the next one.
Where are we with Brooks?
How long are
Well-
you young for in golf? What's the what's the age when you're not young anymore at this point?
27.
27. Okay.
I don't know. Yeah. Right. Maybe even younger than that at this point. Like, I wouldn't say 33 is old, 34 is old, but when you're not young at like 27 anymore, 26, what I would say. I think the people who can use them most is it's always like a live guy because I think there's just a little bit extra. And
Rahm.
probably not Bryson, but Rahm and Brooks. Brooks, I might throw in there. Like, where are we at with Brooks these days?
I think
Um,
Hatton also would be.
God.
I don't know what to expect from Hatton at any point anymore, but him finding himself into the conversation, I think, would be entertaining for everybody.
There's a tee time that's Hatton, Zalatoris, and Adam Scott.
I had that start as my favorite.
I'm just like, no thanks.
No, anything
That's
could
the
happen.
show me group. Like,
Any-
like Adam Scott is living off of like past performance. I love him. He's beautiful to watch. Hatton hasn't done anything in a major in a long time, and Zalatoris hasn't done anything since that incredible 2022 major run. And like, great pairing on paper, and sort of for the golf geek soul. But I'd throw that Hatton when you call that was kind of like it's time to show us all three of them in a way.
I love that one because literally anything could happen. They could be
Bad vibes.
unbelievable. That is a terrible vibes group potentially.
Quickly
Oh
go.
yeah, could be bad.
vibes.
I think that's the biggest possible swing from high to low.
You want my favorite pairing?
Do it.
Piss Bear
Okay.
and Laurie Cantor. Two players that I would describe with a lot of life experience. Some in golf, some outside of golf. Shepherding along young Koala Cam Carl Phillips.
We got that's the nickname trio. Piss Bear, Koala Carl, and the Recanter.
And
Laurie Cantor. That's
the
a great one.
The boy who lived, Laurie Cantor.
Just all kind of walks
About
of
the other
experience to shepherd along Koala Carl. Young Koala Carl.
Hey, that leadoff group's a great one. Luke Donald, Podrick Harrington, Martin Keimer, for people our age at least that speak into our soul.
I got to ask a question.
Yeah.
Is this the PGA totally jamming Luke Donald here? They give him a spot.
Oh.
Meanwhile, they give Keegan a good look. Keegan gets a good look at Mav McNeely and Andrew Novak, a clear scouting group. Someone.
Interesting.
Meanwhile, they put Luke with
Yeah.
Patty Harrington and Martin Keimer, two guys that have no chance to make the team.
Now, I do believe I need to Google this. Mr. Haig, Kerry Haig, and Luke Donald do have prior run-ins. I think back when Luke maybe was a little more feisty. I don't quote me on this. We might have to Google it. I believe he's on the record as saying some not nice things about Mr. Haig. And in a Ryder Cup setting, I believe. So yeah, maybe they're jam. If they're gonna do it, you might as well do it, right?
Yeah.
Might as well, like, you host. It's your host. You're hosting the championship. You got to play them later. But I love it. I love the Keimer, Harrington, Luke Donald.
Who would you if you were giving Luke Donald the scouting trip? Because I feel like he's played with the Hoygaards before. Like who would you want him to play with?
Oh, that's a good question. Maybe Nicholas Norgard. He's making some noise, right?
Yeah.
And Big Sammy Valimaki. I think he needs to understand the physicality that that a cousin of a great NHL defenseman can bring to the team.
I'm trying to find this Luke Donald quote because I don't want to put words in his mouth. If he had a run in, maybe it wasn't him that popped. One of them got mad at Haig in a Ryder Cup setting.
Who would you put LD with?
That's a good one.
Maybe Piss Bear.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that. I was gonna say Norgard's not a bad one. There's a lot of options.
Alex Noren, how healthy are you?
Alex Noren. There's so many. McKibben, Tom McKibben.
Pooge. You can put him with Pooge and
Pooge actually might be the
McKibben.
right answer.
That's a real one. Pooge is a real one. There you go.
What are some other favorite tee times? How do you guys feel about the Rory Xander Scottie super group?
It's somehow like it's incredible, but also like eye rolling. Like we've seen this, we've done this. Spread it out, right?
I think it's best when you spread them out.
Yeah.
I think Bryson should feel deservedly miffed by this, that they're all of a sudden changing from the last 3 major champions to put Scottie in there instead of Bryson.
Why did they do that?
I don't know. World number 1, 2, and 3, but I think this should be motivation for Bryson.
I love Gary Woodland. I think it's an incredible story. But why is he in this group with Victor and DeChambeau?
I didn't get that. Yeah, I'm with you. I didn't understand that. I mean, can I just
you know I'm going to blame for some of these pairings?
Who?
Don Rhea.
The Corebridge Financial 20. Along those lines of like, why is he in this? We have a sponsors exemption. Ricky Fowler.
Oh, yes.
Like he did not qualify. He gives an invitation. They immediately just put him right into feature groups with Brooks and Shane Lowry. Lowry's a top 10 player in the world right now. Brooks is a 5-time major winner.
Did you see the tweet they made?
No.
A pair of major champions join a fan favorite.
So disrespectful. Join a fan favorite? Oh, that's tough.
2 contenders and a ceremonial participant.
I mean, they just create an exemption for him and then just immediately slot him in. Kind of nuts.
I kind of love this pairing. I wish I was on the ground just to follow this pairing. Phil Mickelson, Tommy Fleetwood, and Jason Day. Just a wide range of nationalities. It was a true global pairing. A wide range of interests with the fellows. You could see some interesting apparel choices. You know, that has it all. And some like great shot making. I mean, I love watching Jason Day around the greens. I love watching Tommy Fleetwood hit irons, and Phil is just generally exciting to watch. Or you could still write Phil this week.
I could do it from remote. Phil Mickelson, lost at sea, lost in Quail Hollow, down in the hollow.
I like Justin Rose, Cam Smith, and Brian Harmon. It's a good vibes group. Could get interesting. I don't know what to do with Cam Smith, but I'm still riding the Justin Rose high from the Masters.
That Cam Smith's like an interesting player. Is he a top 30 player? I know he's not a top 10 player. I know he's probably not a top 20 player anymore. Is he a top 50 player at this point? I'm not sure.
He's just off the map. I know the Rippers are doing well generally, but that could be all behind Leishman.
That was
the
big
John
bopper.
Olerud.
Big bopper.
I love Chikara, Roop, Taylor, and Justin Lauer. I'm intrigued by that one. It's because I want to see what Chikara can do on a non-Asian. And we love Justin Lauer. All things Justin Lauer here. What else you got, Andy?
I like this one a lot. Tyler Collette, who won the Club Pro tournament. He's an assistant pro at Johns Island. He got to the second stage of Korn Ferry last year, but didn't like turn pro. He's not a scummy club pro at this point.
There are a few.
Tyler Collette, Jimmy Walker, past major champion, and Dickie Bland, just like a potpourri of different lives in golf, like completely different lives in golf. It's kind of incredible. It's the most eclectic. In terms of like just like on its face, what have you done in golf? The most eclectic group.
I think that's a good game within the game setting because I think the PGA, the Club Pro, who just rolled at the Club Pro,
He won
has
by
a
like
chance.
10 shots.
Yeah, they
Has a
didn't
chance.
really play a real golf course though. They played in Port St. Lucie. Everything should be marked with an asterisk there.
He won by 10. I love the Duffner, Thorbjornsen, McKeel group that we just talked about. I looked up their driving distance. Duffner's 279, McKeel's 273 average. Thor is like,
What's the
fourth
average
on
for
tour.
McKeel?
I don't know what I don't know what the sample size is from for that one. I just saw a number and wrote it down immediately. Thor is obviously like averaging like 310. It just could be a Walmart pairing with him. I mean, that's not good for him. He's just waiting all day for McKeel and Duff. So that's an interesting group. Any others you got before we go to worst? I mean, we
Let's
never
see.
did some of the marquee.
I mean, yeah, you got Morikawa, JT, and DJ. I love the DJ's included. I know though he's been grinding on his perfect practice, Matt. Perfect putting practice.
He's been posting like Instagram
Yeah.
reels, working
Vlogs.
like kind of vloggy. Somebody's been following him around in and out of the
Really?
gym, in
Yes.
and out of the physio truck. DJ,
Is he,
at
is
least
he
on
back?
social media, it looks
He's
like he's
pretty
putting the work
engaged.
in.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to talk about a course that would set up well for somebody if he's back.
Yeah.
My God, well, he's got to be like 100 to 1 at this point in the
He's up
odds.
there. You know, who
Might
has-
not be the worst bet.
Who's got better odds than Phil? Was it Blocky? Blocky has far better odds than Phil.
Blocky was lower or higher priced on daily fantasy.
Did you see those Golf Digest power rankings? The
I
top
got it up
100? Oh
right
my
now.
God. This was
Number
the most
85.
this is the most disrespectful thing I've seen on the internet this week, and on the cesspool that is the internet that's constantly disrespectful to people. This was the most disrespectful thing I saw this week, was putting Michael Block 85th in the top 100 Golf Digest
85.
top 100.
79 is Dustin Johnson. So 85 is Blocky. 86
Blocky.
is Alex Noren. 89 is Cam Davis. He's 4 spots out of Cam Davis.
It was incredible. Cam Davis, bona fide top 50 player in the world.
Ahead
Cam
of
Davis just gets screwed routinely.
he's
Jake
91
Knapp,
is
Jake Knapp, my
Jacob-
favorite, was
the
98.
Bridgeman. Bridgeman's 91. Bridgeman's 22nd in like FedEx Cup in this season right now. He's a top 25 FedEx Cup player. He's putting 6 behind Blocky. EVR.
This is insane.
What? These are all tour pros. Paval. I mean, you can't, like, I'm not suggesting these guys are going to win, but Blocky's ahead of them.
I mean, in good faith, you cannot put Blocky inside the top 100 in this field.
It makes the entire Golf
not-
Digest exercise and maybe everything else just
Uh,
null and void.
You know what might be an amusing thing to do is look at Blocky. Blocky's a great player, okay? But he hits the tumbler out there. You know, as someone who hits a
You
tumbler,
played with them, right?
I hit a tumbler too. You know,
Okay.
you could get the ball out there, but it's because you kind of have no spin and the ball just like knuckles and bounds. Blocky might be hitting 252-yard poof balls out there all week because it's just going to hit the ground and stop.
Stick.
The fairways are soaked.
You think they're going to do LCP? Lift, clean,
Hopefully
play?
not.
They've done it before. The only major that's done it. I think at 16, Jimmy Walker.
Well,
Andy,
you know, I'd like to remind you that all the members of the PGA Tour are also members of the PGA of
Oh my
America.
God. This guy. Do we have a worse tee time before we get to Don Rhea?
well, before we move on to that, Andy, you could get Dustin Johnson at 120.
See, I think it's actually become like a decent throw $5 there.
Okay, $5 is fine. I'll
$10
stop at $5.
$10, you win $1,000 all because Dustin Johnson won the PGA out of nowhere. Like
He's been nip and tuck with Anthony Kim for the last 3 months. I don't know. Yeah, it's not a bad bet for 120 to 1. Not a bad bet.
So with worst tee time, I felt bad putting any club pro into the worst tee time.
That's just the whole thing. There's options because of the club pro element.
So many bad tee times. So we'll do worst tee time with a club pro, worst tee time without a club pro.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know that I think might all have a club pro in them. Just in principle, after Don Rhea, I had to go at the 28,000.
Technically, they're all PGA professionals.
That's true.
They're all
true.
There are club pros.
They're all PGA professionals.
This is this is every player's championship in this field. You know, it's a great pairing, actually.
What?
Sergio Berger and
That.
Henley.
It's feisty. Henley's Switzerland. Then you got just kind of chilling, and then you got Berger and Sergio worked out.
My worst pairing without one: Rasmus Niergaard, Pedersen, General Patton Kazire, and Matt McCarty.
That's tough. It's a tough scene.
I like Matt McCarty, but nobody can pull him out of that. Can pull you out of that hole.
I was trying to figure out what CFT meant next to all the names. I guess Corbridge Financial Team. I thought that was like there's some sort of province or something where they were from. It's like, where are all these guys? Worst one. I mean, there's so many options. Andre Chi, Patrick Fishburne, Seamus Power. I know Chi is PJ's boy apparently in Long Island. Teaching pro. Bobby Gates, Lee Hodges, and Ben Griffin. I mean, that sounds like the middle of the order for like a AA Birmingham. Bobby Gates, Lee Hodges, and Ben Griffin are due up this inning.
I had Greg Coach, Marco Penge, and Ryan Gerard.
Coach is Cook.
No, I looked it up. I believe it's Coach.
Like Michelle, you looked that one up?
I did look that one up.
Greg Coach, what is it? Marco Penge
and Ryan Gerard.
Isn't it
That's
Coke?
bad. That's what I was just saying.
No, I looked it up. I tried it. I found a highlight of him from last year's PGA Professional Tournament.
There's some options for sure. Coke, Penge, and Gerard.
What about Campos, Ryan Lenahan, and Matt Wallace?
I thought about that one. Wallace brings a little flavor to it.
I don't know. Not the kind of flavor I'm looking for. Kevin Yu, Larkin Gross, and John Kiefer. Is that double club pro?
No. So disrespectful. Kiefer's number 2 on KFT.
He's like number 95th in the world.
Yes.
He's like
Bear.
Involved.
Looking forward to covering John Kiefer more in depth. Maybe we'll do John Kiefer minute tomorrow.
So there are options. That's your tee sheet for.
You're not even going to shout out Johnny Vegas, Elvis Smiley, and Brian Campbell?
Oh, that's disrespectful to do to the alum of the greatest university in the world.
Let me just say, the Charlotte fans aren't going to be flocking to that one. Vegas, Campbell, they're not going to be going to that one. Any other odds and ends from the week? Do we need to roll back the Champions Dinner? We're doing Champions Dinner and menus now. All right, I think we've gone too far.
Well, Xander doesn't like dinners.
That's right, obligations for him.
That's right.
So,
it would have been great if he said, "You know what, guys, order takeout on me, and let's do a Zoom conference for 20 minutes."
Hey, instead of getting the boys together up at the dining room, just get takeout, boys. The boys didn't want to come to dinner.
PJ, what's going on with your fellow boy? What's he doing this week? You've been in contact with him? Do you guys keep in close contact? You and Joseph?
Me and Joseph?
Yeah.
They work together.
Yes.
I hope so.
What are you talking about?
I'm saying, what's going on? What have you guys been talking about this week?
we were fired up about the Andrew Novak Keegan Bradley pick. That brought a lot of juice today. That was a big reveal. Got us fired up. We were very appreciative of the opportunity for our favorite football analyst to get out there in front of the captain to kind of make some waves.
Your schedule for the week, by the way, the PGA is on all day, 7 a.m. That's just running 7 a.m. to like 7 p.m. But there's no way they're done at 7 p.m. Eastern. I'm sorry, that's not happening. When's the last group off? ESPN thinks they're getting off the air at 7 p.m. 2:37 is the last group. Not happening. So that's 7 to 7 all week essentially, and then you have the Regents Tradition 3 to 6, 2 to 5 on the weekends on Golf Channel. It's a major championship. I don't know why.
It is a major championship.
Speaking of ESPN, David Duval chose that. Kind of left ESPN holding the bag at the last minute, flapping in the wind. So they brought in Ogilvy, Andy North, and I think Curtis Strange to do like a rotation. Champions Tour, Doug Barron's your defending champ. Notables, Alker, Clark, Els, Jimenez, Lahner, Monty, VJ, Strix, Toms, and Mike Weir. That's the Regents Tradition, I'm told, has some real old timers like David Frost,
Larry Nelson.
He
Is there a
might
cut? Are we on spread watch this week?
I doubt there is. I would be shocked if there was.
I don't think there is one. What are we predicting on spread? 50?
This is the backboard central. Yeah, we'll go 45.
45. Over under 45 and a half. What's everybody doing?
Oh. Over. I don't even know if they might have a cut. I don't know.
No cut. Last year's spread was 33.
Oh.
So
Condense the field down there at the whatever it is, Greystone or something like that.
I'm hammering the under.
Okay, there you go. We've got a data-driven insight here. Yeah, Olin Brown, Corey Pavin, David Frost. They got some guys playing in that one from the way back. That's your schedule for the week. We did our picks. What else? News. Rory's going to Australia.
This is awesome.
For Royal Melbourne and Kingston Heath, not just this year, but next year. That's out there, official, confirmed dates. I think December 4th to 7th. I mean, this guy, he's parading around the arena. He's got either eating out of the palm of his hands. He's won the crowd. He's just circling around the Coliseum and just throwing them. They're just catnip. Just absolutely. He's just got everybody loves Rory. He's got him eating out of the hands, eating out of the palm of his hands. Like, you know what? I'm going to take over Australia too, because we know that market will just fall head over heels if I come down there. It's super cool. Plays to like the golf nerd soul, like go to play those courses. We hear all about like we wish these guys would patronize more parts of the globe and certainly Australia. And now he's going and do it. Guy is just winning everywhere right now. This is just an easy win, and he's just got everybody kind of falling for him, head over heels. Good, cool thing that we'll get in December. And then other news: Southern Hills is going to host the 2032 PGA. So that was part of an announcement by Derek Sprague, which he almost forgot. The moderator had to say, Derek, I think you had something to announce. And he had, right.
They had more important things to talk about. Real quick on the Rory thing, it's cool. He's talked about like the worldwide tour and how we should be doing this. It's neat to see him actively doing it. He's supposed to play in India in October, playing in Australia in December. You know, that's cool. You know, it's and showing like, hey, if I could do it, you can do it. I
For
think
a guy who could take off August to January, you know, or could if he wanted to. I don't think we're going to see him at Sanderson or RSM. I think he's going to be going around the world or taking it easy. 2032 goes to Southern Hills. This was part of the PGA State of the Union address.
It was quite a State of the Union address.
I don't know where to begin with this. This Don Rhea fella.
The new PGA president is Don Rhea.
He's a pro at a place called Augusta Ranch in Mesa, Arizona. And
which I believe is an executive course.
He was the microwave man. He came off the bench. He was going to get up his shots. I mean, there was a question. Derek Sprague would respond to it on multiple occasions. He just would, before Sprague was finished talking, he's like, if I could just follow up on that. And then go on to 4-minute soliloquy. Guy.
He was a politician.
Bozo. total clown. He just missed the service of the great PGA pros he's representing.
This
he had
guy,
non-responsive answers. He rambled at length.
this
He
is
said
a deeply unserious situation.
totally
What's
unserious.
going on with this guy being trotted up there as a representative of one of the biggest organizations in golf? It's mind-boggling to me. As I thought about it more, the more shocked I was that this is the way it goes. I get that the PGA is a trade organization, that the PGA of America has they elect these presidents who are PGA pros. But because you know how to run a golf shop does not mean you know how to run a multi-billion-dollar organization.
I mean,
It doesn't mean you should be.
Sprague
And I
wasn't
don't-
great.
I
but he stood out.
love PGA pros. I love them.
Yes,
But this is a complete
unserious.
clown show operation, sending that guy up there to speak like
Oh, and he
on like
spoke.
the future of golf. This guy,
Well, he spoke. He didn't say much. He's used a lot of words. It was sort of gobbledygook. I mean, Sprague, who is a club pro, was the same role that Rhea is now in. You know, he wouldn't cover himself in glory, but he looked like a star next to Rhea. But I mean, you just think about the gravitas lost with that Seth Y used to be in that seat, and he's not there anymore. And you talk about running billion-dollar organizations and all that stuff. And, you know, Kerry Haig, like, you know, usually it's a little bit like chewing on your wallet. You know, let's talk to him. He's not going to give you much. But I wouldn't want to have been up there with those guys. I could understand him not wanting, just looking like he wanted to be anywhere else or get the hell out of there and not answer and not be included. So, rollback, bifurcation.
this guy, his life experience, I just want to, is he owns and operates an executive golf course in Arizona.
Yeah.
Okay? That's what he's done. And because he got voted by PGA pros and petitioned, clearly he has his own website that's just a petition platform. Like, there's this like great line that Al Jamieson, who's like spearheaded the transformation of Cal Club, he has this great line about committees at clubs, and I think this is like very similar to like trade organizations like the PGA of America. Is anybody that wants to be involved in leadership, you don't want them, you want anything to do with them being involved with leadership. And this is a perfect example. This guy wanted to be the president of the PGA, and he saw his moment of fame, his moment to just jump in there and just talk about everything. And it was a disaster. He seemed like a low rate politician.
I looked him up. He's got like his own, like his, I guess what would have been his campaign site.
Website.
And there's one that says like my why. There's a whole like sub page category, and it's all these videos, and like I guess he's a man of faith, and he does some preaching a lot, or like does sermons. And it felt like he was sort of rambling on a sermon up there. Apparently he was an atheist, and now he's like a big man of God. And so hopefully he does a similar flip flop on the rollback. You know, I'm glad he found God. He's a believer now, but maybe we can get a flip flop on the rollback as well. But I guess he is a preacher of some sort. So it was all over the place. It started when they asked him about the CFT, Corbridge Financial Team, and he answered it, but then had to add this. By the way, this is still the strongest field in golf. 99 of the top 100 players there. If you're going to beat the best, you have to beat the best. Everyone is asking who we are and what we do. Who's everyone? Who's asking that? I know what the 31,000 do, but rest assured, when you have 99 out of the top 100, when you have the variety of golf courses that we provide on a yearly basis, and then knowing that we have the strongest field and you have to be the best to beat the best, I think we're in a perfect spot. That's why I love this championship. Where did we get from everyone is asking who we are, what we do, to that? So that was his first time talking. I was like, oh boy, we're in. We're in.
I
for
couldn't
it.
believe the way he talked.
Oh yeah, you got to get the video. Really just does it justice. And we got Derek Sprague quickly follows with corporate sales have been off the charts in Charlotte. He got mad at one questioner suggesting there might be comments or might be tickets available for like I forget Saturday or Thursday and Sunday something. He goes, "Don't say that. Don't act like these fairways aren't going to be full." He kept talking about how the fairways are going to be filled. I was like, "Well, aren't they outside the fairways?" He kept using that. The fairways are going to be filled. Kept saying that, Sprague. But Rhea was the real star of the show.
Can I play a little soundbite from the Rhea just to give people a little that missed it, probably missed it. Most people aren't tuned into this.
Do you want
What?
the video or you want the soundbite? We have the video.
Oh, right. I was going to put the personal opinion, just the soundbite.
Okay, we have the whole video.
All right, put the video. Put the video up.
Don, what is your personal opinion on bifurcation?
Oh God.
What's my personal opinion on it? There is no personal opinion. I'm the president of the PGA of America, right? I've got 31,000 members that are listening to my every word, and I'm proud to represent them. You know what I think? It's all part of the, I know where you're going, but these conversations that we're having, bifurcation was taken off the table. So I'm not talking about that now. What we're talking about is 2028 and 2030 and the impact on recreational golf. And so I don't think that's.
You said you'd want it to be a win for everybody, and wouldn't it work that way?
Bifurcation?
Yeah.
In my opinion, as president of the PGA of America, I think you know one of the cool things is when a PGA professional is teaching a young man or young woman who wants a D1 scholarship. And it's really vital that they're playing with the same ball that they're going to play in D1 or maybe on the tour someday. And so when I think about what I've done on the range at Augusta Ranch Golf Club when I'm training up these kids, I want to make sure that the range ball they're hitting is close to the ball that they're going to play, which is close to the ball they're going to play in D1 and on the tour someday. And so for that reason, it's hard for me to understand bifurcation, how it's good for something that only our game features, which is the ability to say, I'm going to play that golf course with this ball just like my heroes, just like my dad. And that's, I think, is the coolness of our game right now, and I don't want to see that taken away. I was very happy when the USGA took that off the table. I thought that was a great win for the PGA of America. We expressed that would be a little difficult, and what did they do? They answered our request, and they took it off the table. So I thought that was an initial win years ago, and it continues to bring it back now. Why? We already talked about that, and that's the future discussions. We're not talking about that at all. We're talking about the impact on the game that everyone in this room plays, and that's what excites us.
So much there.
Well, I just want to. I did a little investigative reporting this afternoon. I called up Augusta Ranch. I wanted to check in. Yeah. I wanted to check in on their range situation since he made a point of it. Yeah. So he wants his kids, and good on him. He wants his kids playing in situations just like that we played D1 golf, as close as possible. So
I mean, what are some set of people we're talking about here that are hitting range balls?
Well, it was
the
voted
D1 prospects only. They all have to be.
It was voted one of the best ranges in like Southeast Arizona or something.
On what publication? Who's voting about this? All right.
Anyways, I called up, was met with an answering service with Don Rhea himself. PJ heard this conversation. Nice lady picked up the phone. And I asked if the range was open. I said, can I ask a weird question? What kind of range balls do you have there? She goes, "Oh, we've got Callaway practice balls. Your standard Callaway practice balls." Now, just based off what he said about his experience on the range, if I was prepping kids for D1 golf, I might be I was thinking they might have Pro V1s on the range. Maybe if you don't have Pro V1s, maybe you have the NXT. Or
Callaway. If you're doing Callaway, you're beholden to them. Do the Callaway ball, the Chrome, whatever. Yeah,
the Chrome ball. This is what I would have thought. But Callaway practice ball. That's just your standard range ball. I also did ask. I asked are these full flight or are they reduced flight by any way?
No,
they are full flight. Okay. But she reminded me. She goes, "Just so you know, we are top tracer range, so you have to hit off mats."
Oh, so that's just like they do in college, right?
Just like they do in college.
They play off mats.
Play off mats.
Eat a green.
Yep. Just prepping D1 golfers, but Callaway range balls. But there's so much more to unpack there. Besides the fact that
Bob
he
Woodward
lied to us about wanting these kids to
Well,
use better
he
balls,
goes-
because Callaway range ball is just like your stock range ball at this point.
He leads with there is no personal opinion, as if he's some sort of disembodied robot. There is no personal opinion. But then he says, when pushed by Shoepack, he says, in my opinion. So you have an opinion.
But as PGA president.
What an insane, like, diluted, like, bifurcations off the table. We're not talking about it. We're not going back. We're not going back. We're not talking about this. Oh, that was just insane. There's so many. This was right after he called PGA Tour Pro, PGA Club Pros the first responders of golf.
I audibly gasped at that line. I was sitting watching this by myself, and I actually gasped out loud when he said first responders.
I mean, I do think the club pros, like we've talked about how much I think they're as important as just about anyone. Like they are actually, no, it's not a monolith. There's some bad ones, some good ones. But they are incredibly important to, like, quote unquote, like really actually growing the game, teaching it. But are you analogizing to the people running to the burning buildings? The first response. What are we? What? And Andy, look, this guy talks one time a year. He talks one time a year. He knew stuff. Rollback was coming. He knew bifurcation would come, and this is what they had for us. First responders.
Sprague, we are vehemently against rollback.
Vehemently. This, by the way, when he said vehemently against rollback, I got to find that one. You know, he goes, there's no change in our stance. We're vehemently against the ball rollback. We've had great conversations with the governing bodies. We've had several constructive collaborative meetings. I feel really good about where we are with them. We're going to continue to collaborate. It doesn't sound like you're in the mood for collaborating at all. Vehemently against rollback. You can't say that and then say you're in the mood to collaborate. You sound disagreeable. You sound non-collaborative.
He said that he wasn't collaborated. They weren't collaborated with
a
few months ago when he took the job, which they seem to walk back. That it's been a great collaborative process. Was the messaging today?
They had to know this was coming, and they just had nothing. They had nothing. Vehemently against rollback. You know, there was so much in there from Rhea. He just, you know, he did say, as you said, they talked about the Ryder Cup, you know, with the PGA Tour buy the Ryder Cup. He says what they do for. Can I follow up just a little bit? He always started that. It wasn't his turn to talk. He said, "Can I follow up just a little bit?" Sprague asked and answered, but he needed to get his bit.
PJ, we need to get that on the soundboard. Just can I follow up on that for this week?
But he was asked about the private equity money buying the Ryder Cup.
I don't think he understood the question. It didn't seem like they understood the question.
What they do for our 41 sections, right? I think he's talking about the tour, where the rubber meets the road with the PGA of America, and our 31,000 are the 41 sections. What are we talking about?
He didn't understand the question.
The tour helps us provide money down to those sections so we can grow the game and serve the members. Don't forget, every PGA Tour member is a member of the PGA of America. So I'm their president too. You hear that, Rory, Xander? You go in there tomorrow. You genuflect. You salute.
You gotta bow at the throne. That is Don Rhea.
Why wouldn't we talk to them on a daily basis? We're all trying to grow the game together. Who's he talking to? Jay Monahan? I would.
Honestly, this guy was disrespectful to Jay Monahan.
He's disrespectful. Yeah. Yep. He kept going. He kept talking about it fills his heart. It fills my heart. He used that one repeatedly.
I'll never forget where I was when I watched Don Rhea give his first public announcement.
Don, what's your vision for what should happen with equipment? I just want golf to win. Oh, what a substantive cut to the core response that one is. I just want golf to win. Well, everybody else wants it to lose.
I don't know who gave more, Kerry Haig on his setup philosophy or Don Rhea on equipment, because they both gave a lot of insight.
We have Kerry. Do you want to do Kerry? Because I cut
Just
that
real quick. Drop it in. This sums up Kerry Haig, the entire press conference. You could sum him up with just this is what he gave to any question directed his way.
Making it so that
What exactly, when you come to a PGA Championship site, what are you trying to accomplish when you set up the course?
every PGA Championship, we challenge all of our staff to make this one the greatest championship we've ever held.
By doing what?
Making it so that you, the media, enjoy it, the players enjoy it, the caddies enjoy it, spectators enjoy it, and the TV viewers enjoy it.
All right, I need to be more clear. I wasn't talking about our parking. I was thinking more about the golf course. Exactly what kind of test are you trying to present, and how do you go about it?
We look at each golf course, obviously each a different architect, so 2-3 years prior, we look at the golf course and see how it is we would like it to play and test the best players in the world. So in this case, there has been some history with the number of events in 2017 when we played, so we do know what took place then, but now we're playing it in May versus August. So the overseed sort of changed a little bit of how it will play. But no, it's a beautiful golf course. It's a great challenge. We try and set the rough up so that players can play, but you've got to, there's a penalty if you do go in there. And, set it up, the tees, and there's some wonderful short par fours that have opportunities, some long par threes, and, that is what setting up a golf course is. There's so many aspects to it. Let's try and bring out the very best in all of those on a magnificent golf course.
I mean,
Nothing.
This is who he is, though. I almost respect it. I don't know.
He's kind of like Belichick, but without any of the humor, Or
hopefully the 24-year-old girlfriend too.
This is a topic I'm genuinely interested in and have been interested in because he's got his own setup philosophy, but he gives you nothing. Just stonewalls you every turn.
He doesn't give you anything. I think
there's no reason for him to be up,
right?
Yes, he has to.
Yeah.
There's no reason for him to be up there ever because he doesn't ever say anything.
Doug tried to get by doing what? Like what? I don't know. Do we need any more Rhea? We gotta sign off.
Do you have any one parting?
Can I follow up just a little bit?
PJ, you're so good. Can I follow up? Wait, let me get in there.
Can I follow up just a little bit?
This is last question.
Can I follow up just a little bit?
Last question to the president. As you see the golf ball debate evolving, what's the biggest challenge now on the radar screen? Last question to the president. I would just say, nothing preceding this had been to him. It was Kerry Haig. It was Derek Sprague talking. Last question to the president. As you see the golf ball debate evolving, what's the biggest challenge now on the radar screen? The challenge? What I didn't mention is the PGA World Alliance. What? That's a whole bunch of PGAs globally. PGA Sweden, PGA Great Britain and Ireland, representing 56,000 PGA professionals globally. I don't see anything as a challenge. What? He was asked about the golf ball debate evolving. It fills my heart, the conversations we've had over the past 3 months. So that was about the golf ball debate. He talked about the PGA World Alliance, and that was his last. I think he probably elbowed his way in again. So, all right, that does it on the Rhea minute. Don Rhea, probably a nice guy, but that was just an unserious ramble, just unserious all the way across.
Rhea at one point was a baseball umpire. Does that surprise you?
No. Look at me, the show, total ump show.
Got up to triple A, Pacific Coast League.
That had to be a total ump show. Cowboy Joe West situation.
That's it. He ended his ump career and started as an assistant professional at Augusta Ranch.
He's arguing with the manager. Can I follow up on that? Not only was it outside, it was also low. Get out of here. Your run.
Can I follow up just a little bit?
What a way to start the PGA week. It was incredible. Not a serious presentation. And they want us to all we have to bow to their collaborative efforts on real matters about
if
rollback.
I'm the USGA, I'm just gonna say, you know what, that I'm not going to take that as constructive feedback. They're part of the process, but we're just gonna put that over here.
Oh God, that's incredible. All right, does
What's
it for
my
a
personal
lengthy
opinion on it? There is no personal opinion. I'm the president of the PGA of America, right? I've got 31,000 members.
I love there was some questioner. I don't know who it was. Somebody being a smartass. At this point, everybody had lost their patience or just knew they were watching sort of a cloud show. Some questioner was like, I don't know what you said, the 30,000 representing the something million. There were just a lot of numbers you're throwing at us. And that's how they led into their question. I don't know who that was in the media. I only got it on the transcript. Somebody being a smartass. All right. Anything else?
Daily live shows. If you're looking for something, I don't know if we'll hang till the very end of the telecast window. It'll probably be when the big boppers finish. People of consequence.
There you go.
Then we'll be hitting live on YouTube. Join in. We'll be there after every round. Sunday we'll probably just be doing a recap, right? Or did we do that live in Augusta? What did we do?
I don't
PJ?
think so.
No, we did it taped. So
okay.
We'll gather our thoughts on Sunday. Watch the press conferences and give our Sunday recap. But every other day we'll be live.
I think this is going to be an awesome golf tournament, whatever you think of the course or whatever else, or the leadership of the PGA. It's going to be a great tournament. I'm pumped to do dailies. We'll be here, say 7:38, somewhere in that range, whenever they're wrapping live. And we're lucky to do this. Appreciate your support and able to do it. PJ, you got any sign off thoughts? Anything we missed?
No, I don't think so.
Ready for live shows. All right.
Ready for live shows. Ready for the regions.
Hey, how are your Cavs doing? Was it strategic to place us with the Cavs?
Sure. I hope so. I haven't
even
looked.
Close game. Close game.
Even looked.
1 point game. You got to get locked in.
Everybody's hurt. Doesn't matter.
Is Mitchell even playing?
Just he did. I don't know if he's playing, but he was activated. So I haven't looked at a minute of it. Indiana, just seeing.
Is the NBA draft rigged? Last question. No. Rapid fire.
No, it's not. The lottery is not rigged.
Feeling bad. Feeling down in the dumps as the Bulls. We lost the coin flip to the Mavs. They get the number 1 pick.
Crazy.
We get a pick 12 again. Thank you, Arturus. Thank you for being mediocre.
Cam Young this week, PJ. Final prediction. Where's he in?
I think made cut, and I feel good.
I'd be hammering
200 to 1. I feel really good.
That's top 10. This course fits his profile.
Top 5 is plus 3,300, 33 to 1. Top 5.
Is that? Are you saying hammer that?
It's on the card.
All right.
I feel good.
All right. Everyone enjoy your Wednesdays.
New York sports is hot right now. Keep it rolling.
You are. We'll be back Thursday after play. Thanks for your support. Talk to you then.
Can I follow up just a little bit?